Welcome back, peeps! What are your thoughts on playing with my erector set again? Because the erection of this, it's gonna be huge to the overall van build. If you like this idea, hit that thumbs up button and we're gonna get this party started. And welcome back, my peeps. So on this one, we're not gonna waste any time. We got a lot to finish, so let's get straight into it. And we're gonna start with these overhead cabinets, because I feel this is going to answer one of the questions we've had since we put this first wall in which all of our fridge and everything like that got mounted to. So on this wall right here that we constructed out of 80/20 aluminum framing, the question that kept getting asked is how did we get this wall mounted into our ceiling? I didn't actually talk about how I did that, and it's because I was saving it for this spot where we're putting our overhead cabinet. And as you'll see, I have some holes pre-drilled through that 3/8 ceiling that we put in place. If you go back to almost a year ago now, when we put this ceiling in, when we put all of our cross beams in with riv nuts, we left a couple extra riv nuts in place so that we were able to drill through the ceiling and have it pre-set up for our cabinetry, which is the exact same thing I did to here so that it's bolted into those ribs that go across the ceiling of the van, as well as it's all bolted into these spots, which were the factory tie downs. So it's bolted to the floor and it's bolted to the ceiling, meaning we know our cabinetry, no matter what happens, is never going anywhere. So to assemble our overhead cabinets, I'm going to start by putting this crossbar in. So we're going to take our 80/20, using a step bit, we're going to hone it out so that the head of the screw will fit down into the groove. Then we're going to use a drill bit to drill it through so that the bolt can actually go straight down through the aluminum, making it so it can attach to the other side. Then, seeing the riv nuts that are up inside there, I don't know if you'll ever be able to see them through here, because it goes up there quite a ways. Those riv nuts are 1/4-20 thread riv nuts. So we have 1/4-20 thread machine bolts, which will just fit right into those holes and countersink up. So it'll be nice and smooth on this end. So it'll be nice and smooth so we can cover that off and these won't interfere with any of our building. Again, exact same stuff we did with all this, that now of course is completely hidden by all our fancy wall paneling. And with all that being explained to you, I'm sure it sounds pretty simple, just putting the bolts up through and bolted in place. But there's a trick, because as we've talked about before, there is not a straight line on this van. And of course, the ceiling does curve down and around. It's oval, that roof. See, just look at this cut. You can see how it comes down. So if we were just to put this straight up onto here, it would actually be angled forward, meaning when we put our straight arms down, they'd come outwards towards our hallway, which we don't want. So we actually have to offset it so that it sits straight. As well, to stop with thermal transfer from the ceiling to our aluminum framing, we're going to use some rubber on this, and we're also going to use that to take that taper out and make it perfectly straight. So we're going to use the same 1/8 inch rubber product that we've used in previous videos, like our water tank and etc. We're going to set this on here and just cut out a piece the exact length and width of that bar. And that is going to be our thermal barrier between the ceiling and the aluminum framing. Then we just spray it with some of our contact adhesive. And once it's set for a few, we stick it in place. Just as easy as that. But now we need to take that taper out that we spoke about earlier. So now I'm just going to cut a 3/4 piece, half of it, and set it on one side, and that's just going to give us that 1/8 raise that we need to make sure everything sits straight. Does not need to be perfect, just needs to be there. So we're just going to glue that on, and we're ready to put it in the van. And once we have all that complete, it's just as simple as putting our bolts through and bolting it in place. And I'm not going to fully tighten them in yet, because now I need to build all the other cabinet system around this so we can finish the overhead cabinets. And I can show you how we're going to bring our down bars and our crossbars and into the wall here. But I'm not going to waste your time with building all the other 80/20 stuff, because we've already done it. So you can go watch this video here, or you can go watch this video here, and it'll describe all the techniques I'm going to use right now. So I'll be back. And there we are. For what you guys was 2 commercials, for me it's been 2 weeks trying to get all this sorted out and set up so that we can continue talking about our overhead cabinets. And let me tell you, there was some mistakes made way back when I put this bar in. And I think the crappiest thing about this mistake is that I knew I made this like a year ago and I refused to do anything about it. I said, we'll deal with it when the time comes. And now the time is here. I've realized my mistake and I don't know if I can actually fix it. But if I do, this is freaking life-changing, my peeps. Like, the whole story changes after this. Oh, wait, hold on a sec. We're talking about the van. Okay, mistakes were still made though. So for this mistake that we made with this bar right here inside the van, it's not actually life-changing, but this does change the whole design and how I had planned to put our overhead cabinets. So what had happened here is that when I put this in place, I'd measured 12 inches from the edge of the wall out to where my overhead cabinets were going to be. And when I planned with my lower cabinets, I thought we were right. But because this has such a curve to it, this wall, unfortunately I was way off. And what happened is if I have, you guys can't see from this angle, if I have our down bars for our overhead cabinets coming down from here, they end up being directly in line with the edge of where our countertop's going to be, which is a problem because when you stand in front of your cabinets, you want to be able to look down at your countertop without hitting your head on them, where if they come over to the edge, it makes it impossible to look down. So there's no way I can deal with that. So I've had to come up with an alternative solution. So if this is your van build with the overheads for a standard counter depth, I say make this measurement 9 inches from here to there, and we would have had a perfect overhead cabinet built. But of course, I can't do that now because of the fact that we put this carpet in place. You know, I debated putting new riv nuts in and moving this back, but that would have meant I would have had to pull all this carpet down and recover it to the edge of where our overhead cabinet's going to be. I tried so many different things. I bought a couple different pieces to see if I can make it work, and it's just not going to happen. So we have to do it this way. And I think I got an idea that honestly, when the build's done, I don't even think anybody will be able to tell that this is actually a mistake. It's something you and I can keep a secret together with, right? So what I've decided is now our down bars are going to come off the back side of this, which just gives us that extra 1.5 inches to have our down bar in place. And then we can have our crossbars across here. We've also mounted to this wall here, because of course that wall matches with that wall. And that's so that where our lift bed is going to attach to. Lots more on that coming up in the future, and I'll show you exactly how I did that when we do the back 2 posts at the back of the van here. So now that I have this design, it's solid, like nothing moves anywhere. It's all bolted into the ceiling, it's bolted into the wall all the way down, and it's also bolted down in the footwell on that side to make sure this part of the cabinet is tight. We've made sure everything's square and level, which let me tell you is not an easy task inside of a van. Everything's round, and the van itself doesn't even sit level, so getting that figured out, well, now you know why it's been 2 weeks since we've seen each other. So to move forward with this, what I need to do now. So now that I know our overhead cabinets fit where they need to be, I don't want any braces in our corners on the front side. So I'm actually, now that I know in place, I'm going to mark it, and we're going to machine up through the bottom so we can put bolts in, just like we did with the bar into the ceiling. And we can bolt this and this together, which means we don't have to have this bracket on the front side, giving us, when our doors open up, a nice open spot. And look at that. Good thing about 80/20, it comes apart real easy. So now I have my spots marked where I need to drill my holes, as well as we're going to tap the ends so we have something to run our bolts into. Then we just slide them back in place. And then through the holes we made, bolt it up into the tapped bottoms. Oh yeah! Now we have a bracket-free front area. But because we made this mistake on our top rail and it sticks out from where our actual frame is going to be now, I need to put another rail across here so there's something to be able to face all of our cabinetry with. So I put a couple holes in the sides here, and once we put our bolt through it with our crossbar, we now have a solid area to face all of our cabinetry. I did also put the center bars in, and we put those in with machine bolts into tapped holes on these as well. And one thing I want to say with this 80/20, with the end hole that's on the 80/20 itself, it actually fits a 5/16 18 thread per inch tap without any drilling. You just have to tap straight into it. And it's actually really quite simple. So we'll just take our 5/16 18 thread per inch tap, our piece of aluminum with its untapped hole. So it's gonna be nice and gentle so you can get that tip in there. Make sure it's nice and straight. And just slowly start reaming it in. Once you got that tip in, you'll feel it starts getting tight. And you're going to want to slowly back it up, back out. Wipe off your tip. Then ream it in a little bit further. Every time you ream it, it'll get a little tighter. And then you just slowly back her back out. Ream it in, back it out. Clean the tip. Then you're going to want to just kind of, every once in a while, don't actually ream it, just nice and gentle in. Just chasing those threads and back out. Back in, back out. And we'll keep repeating that process until you have your shaft fully engaged. And my peeps, you're now ready to screw it. So all the bolts we used here are 5/16 18 thread per inch screws, and we got different lengths depending on what we were going through. Of course, if it's available, it'll be tagged below. But as you'll see, that now gives us a very good idea of what these overhead cabinets are going to look like. And with this gap here, it's giving me a spot where we can put some nice LED lights, all that kind of stuff. But we'll have more on the actual finishing and covering of the overhead cabinets in the future again. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, peeps. Now to finish the project for today, as you'll see, everything is screwed into the walls. It's screwed into the ceilings. Like, it is a solid overhead cabinet. I should mention, on all machine screws we put in and everything like this, once we knew the cabinets were in place, I don't feel like I mentioned this enough, but every bolt and screw that we put in this stuff always gets blue Loctite. No matter what, if I haven't said it, be assured that it had blue Loctite put on it. So now, although these are solid and not going nowhere, I do want to put two more supports from the back bar into our wall on this side. So all I'm going to do is build some spacers out of our 80/20 aluminum. We'll bolt them through these holes into here and put screws into the wall so it looks like this. And I'm telling you, these freaking cabinets are indestructible, like absolutely solid. And when I say that these cabinets are solid, they're like 230 pounds guy type solid. Not that I'll ever need to put 230 pounds up here, but if I did, I know our cabinets can handle it. I've also put in our crossbars, and I had to drill some holes in there so that our wire can come through, which will be for our lights that'll be underneath the overhead cabinets. I'll just put one in here So when we split this wire, we can have our wire go across to the other side and have a light on this side, which will be over top of our sink, and a light on this side, which will be over top of our cutting board type area. But that's it. It's been way too long since we got a video uploaded, and I need to get one done today because it's Sunday, the same day you're going to be watching this video if you're following along. If you liked this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please, and don't forget to hit that bell so you're reminded when we do upload our videos. So with that being said, I will see you on the next video.
Perfect.